All right, my little chickadees, before we get into a new episode of White Heat, got to remind you once again about Mohawk Honda. Hey, those 2022s, you're going to start seeing commercials for them all over the place pretty soon because, that's what September's about. Kickoff of football season and the kickoff of your commercials for the 2022 vehicles coming out. It is what it is. So, car lots are going to be looking to, you know, trade out those 2021s, hopefully. But those are going to be top dollar and may not necessarily fit what you're looking for. So you want to find somebody that's going to have A, a bigger inventory for you to choose from, and B, the right kind of vehicle that'll fit your needs and your wants and your lifestyle. And the only dealership that's going to be able to do that is Mohawk Honda at Freeman's Bridge Road in the Scotia Glenville area of the upstate New York. The upstate New York. That was good, Brian. Any Hoosier, and even with these 2022s coming in, a lot of these dealers, they still don't have a whole lot of inventory to begin with as far as trade-ins are concerned because, again, COVID screwed up a lot of things, including the shipment of vehicles from factories or from, car lots to actual dealerships. So, you've been kind of screwed. But Mohawk Honda won't screw you over because they have the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the entire upstate New York area, and they'll have vehicles that'll fit your needs, your lifestyle, and Mohawk Honda, they'll put value in the selection and value in what you need to get by day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. And that's what they're going to do. Fit your needs, fit your lifestyle. And selection, it continues to be king for the rest of this summer and into infinity because it never stops. Selection is always king at Mohawk Honda, not just this summer. They're always king. And no one has more to choose from than Mohawk Honda. Freeman's Bridge Road in the Scotia Glenville area of upstate New York, where they always go out of their way to please you. And that means, hi, everybody. I'm Brian. It's episode 13 of White Heat. Hi, everybody. That's kind of what I was going for. I just didn't do the voice. Because...
one day short. We could have had episode 13 on Friday the 13th.
Oh, son of a bitch. Wow.
Sorry, I got a ton of shit to do tomorrow.
So I should purposely delay?
No.
No? Okay, fuck it. All right. Okay, we're making behind the curtain decisions on the fly here. Fuck it.
Welcome to wrestling.
Yeah. Touche. Especially when people go over time.
Not on my shows.
Yeah, not your shows. We know that. Eddie Hooser, welcome to episode 13 of White Heat. I'm Brian Katie. That's JJ Alexander. Yeah, we're presented by Godzilla Media, sponsored by Mohawk Honda, and we're also sponsored, by the way, by our friends at Johnstone Supply, 2600 6th Avenue in Troy. This is the perfect time for us to be talking about them because they will take care of your HVAC needs. I don't know how you're doing over there in Connecticut, but I know we've had heat advisories, heat stroke warnings, all kinds of different shit being put on with the way that the weather is around here in upstate New York. It's, low to mid 90s, heat indexes up to like 105, 110. And even the little bit of rain we've gotten, it hasn't done shit for us.
Yeah, it's just as bad here, but I've got central air, so.
Yeah. See, and that's why you need to talk to Johnstone Supply, because if you are in or around the capital region area of New York, Johnstone Supply is your guy. They are your guys, I should say. They got Fujitsu, they got Westinghouse. Plus, if you have something wrong with your AC system, like a contactor or a capacitor, they have those in stock all the time. So get a hold of them. Johnstone Supply in Troy, 2600 6th Avenue in Troy. I've heard there's a popular barbecue chain next door to them too, so you can kill two birds with one stone, handle your HVAC issues, and then get some badass barbecue next door. I won't say who because they're not sponsored, but you can probably put one and one together if you know New York well enough. Phone number, by the way, 518-272-5922. Let's dive into it. And oh, by the way, while JJ's doing what he has to do there off the screen for a second, and I tell him to let me know what his hot list is just so I can take a look at it. I'm just going to be completely 100 with y'all, which is what I always am. If you can't tell, I'm still a little bit on the I'm on the backside of whatever the hell I have, because literally we stopped recording episode 12 a week ago, and within an hour I was starting to feel like shit, thinking it was a head cold. And now a week later, I'm still not completely out of the woods. Still got a little cough, a little congestion, as you can tell. So, like just now, you might see a random mute of the mic for a second so I can cough and clear my throat. I have tons of libations, aka hot quality H2O. So be sucking some of that down during this show. For real, for real. Yeah, we have quite the episode put together today. A lot of shit to get into. The hot list it's a fantasy booker edition of the hot list, which I don't think we've done before. I mean, we've done hot lists where we've talked about people we wanted to do certain things or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think we ever actually. We did book one. There was one thing where we booked matches, but it was based on current. What was it? Current NXT and Ring of Honor talent, something like that. I can't remember the exact list. I have it in front of me. Give me a second. I save every category that we do. What was it?
I think it was interpromotional singles matches.
Right. Okay. It was top 5 current Ring of Honor versus WWE Dream matches. That's the category it was. So we've only done fantasy booking once before, so we figured we'd do it again. I won't ruin what it is, but it's very creative, to say the least. At least the thing was I copped out and got halfway creative with the fantasy booking. I have a feeling JJ probably went crazy and was like, woo! But okay. Eddie Hooser. Where should I begin? All right. Let me start with this because I forewarned JJ, I think it was last night or 2 nights ago, whenever the hell we were talking about this. I forewarned him that we were going to have a disagreement, which doesn't happen too often on this show. But for those of you who, expand your horizons beyond just the shit that's on WWE and AEW, and I don't mean shit literally. I mean, that's the only stuff that's on main cable TV. Those who don't explore beyond your basic cable to watch, say, an Impact or Ring of Honor or MLW, you may not be completely familiar with AAA, except for the rare occasion they're showcased. They've showcased any of their talent in AEW.
Or flat tire.
Huh? Ha! Oh, he made a funny. Oh God, that was such a dad joke. Anyways, so me and Dad Jokes McGee. So TripleMania, which is basically AAA's version of WrestleMania, more or less. It's their Super Bowl. It's to compare them to another non-WWE promotion. It's basically they're equal for their year to what Wrestle Kingdom is for New Japan. It's their right. It's their premier show of the year. So it's this weekend, and I know we were discussing it a little bit over the course of the week. You're not too enthused with how the card looks. Just to give a brief rundown of just a few matches I know off the top of my head. I know that there's a hair versus lucha de apuestas match, as it's called, or hair versus mask, or sometimes just hair versus hair, mask versus mask, some combination of it. There's one of those. I believe it involves Tejano Jr., if I remember correctly. And that's typically the main event of the night because hair versus mask, mask versus mask. Any match that involves a potential loss of a mask is a huge deal in Mexican culture, wrestling culture. So that'll probably be the main event, the last match of the night. And of course, there's also title for title match involving AAA's Women's Championship and the Impact Wrestling World Champion Women's Championship. Deonna Purrazzo is the Impact representative, obviously. And the AAA champion, bear with me for a second. I'm sure you probably have it right in front of you. Give me 2 seconds. I had it right in front of me a second ago. Fabi Apache is the AAA Reina de Reinas champion. And then also, really, the most internationally hyped up match for the basically AAA's version of the heavyweight title, the AAA Mega Championship. Kenny Omega defending against Andrade de Idolo, El Idolo, excuse me. But before
Which
we get
hasn't been
into
mentioned once anywhere.
True. I was actually kind of shocked it wasn't even mentioned last night on AEW Dynamite.
Past 2 weeks, nothing.
Yeah.
So we
but
have a working relationship.
Before we get into where I know we're having we had a disagreement before, and I think we still are going to have that disagreement. You want to? I know that you're not completely enthused with how the cards worked out as far as in comparison to recent years, correct?
Yeah, just I don't know. It just seems falls a little flat for me, and I don't like the whole freaking. I don't like the title for title. It's like Deanna Prague was terrible, and I feel like that match, and plus, lately AAA has been kind of known for doing title for title matches and then reneging on their word afterwards. So
yeah, I'm not exactly sure if this is one of those occasions, but I remember specifically a few years ago, same title, they had a same kind of match. Where Tessa Blanchard won the Reina de Reinas title, and then I think they went back on that, if I remember correctly.
Well, they just just within the last 7 months, they did the same thing with freaking Laredo Kid and Leo Rush and MLW. Laredo Kid dropped a fucking belt, and then they were like, "Yeah, no, we're not gonna honor that."
Oh, interesting. So they're very, very strict when it comes to title defenses outside their promotion, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, they sanction it, and then they're like, yeah, no, we don't want to.
Gotcha. That's interesting. So let me get into what I think. I think we disagree on this so much. I'm almost willing that we need to make our first ever bet on the show on this. I don't know what the wager would be, but I feel like we need to make a bet on this. Because I did a little more homework on this. Correct me if I'm wrong. You are still of the opinion Kenny Omega is going to beat Andrade this weekend, correct?
He's not dropping that belt.
Okay. I still disagree with you. I still think Andrade is going to win it. And I'll give you, and this is just something I found in the 5 minutes of research I did the other night when we were having this discussion. The longest ever reign of that championship is Tejano Jr., who held it for just under 800 days, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me. It was 700 and something. I'm going to pull it up right now, actually. Donde está? Yes, 735 days. So essentially 2 years and 5 days is what it breaks down to. Since then, the two most recent holders of the championship are the only two out of their last 7 title holders to hold the title for more than 1 year. So here's what it's been since then, just to give you an idea. So Tejano Jr., that record title reign ended in December 2014 when Alberto Del Rio, who had just become known as El Patron Alberto after leaving WWE the first time, they capitalized on his departure and he won the title. Then he vacated the belt because guess what? He went back to WWE. So they eventually put the belt back on Tejano Jr. for about a year. Then it was Johnny Mundo when he was, I believe this was during his time at Impact, 2017. Yeah. And then he drops the belt to Ray Wagner, also formerly known as Dr. Wagner Jr. Then Jeff Jarrett held it for almost 3 months, just out of nowhere in 2018. And then Ray Phoenix won the belt at TripleMania 26 3 years ago. He held the belt for, this is a good number, 420 days. And then Kenny Omega won the belt and is your current champion. He won in October of 2019. So he's held the belt for just under 2 years. We're about a month and a half away from 2 years for him. So number of days, as of right now, we're looking at basically it's about 75 days before he would tie Tejano Jr.'s record reign.
With an asterisk.
Well, COVID, yeah, true.
Exactly.
But to me, I just don't see them willing to. And this is gonna. The phrase I'm about to use is not meant to be offensive, but I don't think AAA is going to let a gringo be the one that becomes the longest champion of their history. I just don't see it. On top of that, I just mentioned they have a history of capitalizing on big names leaving the big company and trying to strap the rocket ship onto them like they did with Alberto Del Rio 7 years ago. I feel like the business model hasn't changed for them, and they are going to do the same exact thing with Andrade, no matter how they're booking him in AEW right now, which we'll get to that promo from last night in a second. Well, not a second, but we'll get to it. It was cringeworthy. It was almost Goldberg LSD cringeworthy. I just don't see any way they allow Kenny to not just win this weekend, but like hypothetically, let's say they do their big event in October. That would be really the only other time between now and when the duration he would need to pass Tejano Jr. That'd be the only event between now and then. So I don't know booking wise what they would do, where they would go. I just think Andrade is the best option for them at this point, based on the business model they've created for themselves over the last 10 years.
Yeah, but you got to realize a couple of things. Got to realize, one, it's not like Andrade popped up out of nowhere. Yeah, they announced him, but Andrade's had TV time since then. That was the difference with Del Rio. Was Del Rio just popped up and was just like, oh boy. So Andrade's already been exposed on television. Plus, here's the big factor. Once again, is that nobody wants to play the game of chicken with who's going to have Kenny drop their belt first. And Tony Khan's going to sit there dangling work visas going, you want your guys to keep getting TV time in America? You're going to keep the belt on my boy.
But that's the thing, like, there's nothing. What talent is AEW even really using that's from AAA aside from
Pentagon,
and Phoenix?
Ray Phoenix, Flamita. What's the kid's name? The kid that looks like fucking Kalisto but isn't Kalisto.
Fuego del Sol.
Fuego del Sol, yes.
The kid who's fighting for a contract against Miro this Friday.
Yeah, even though they just added him to the fucking Nightmare Factory because they're stupid and don't know how to fucking wait for shit.
Right.
But that and Phoenix alone. As long as Tony Khan can offer work visas to them, AAA is going to play ball.
But here's the other side of it. What is there to gain at all at this point? Because you already have Impact by the balls. Because not only do you have their world title, you have their tag titles in your company right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing this weird partnership where now even Scott D'Amore shows up on your TV. Like,
well, it's because they just remembered they have that partnership, and Impact's been getting nothing from it, except for a Kenny Omega appearance in an empty arena.
I mean, let's just put it out there. Kenny's not dropping the belt on the debut of Rampage. Like,
nope.
As much as it'd be kind of cool for the nostalgia of Christian Cage winning the Impact Championship, it's not going to happen because A, it's not in an Impact ring, and B, it's not on Impact TV.
Right.
If anybody thought the Good Brothers were going to lose the tag titles last night on Dynamite, they're fucking stupid. So I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like he's already got Impact in over a barrel. Like, you know, he's their daddy, and he has them over his knee, just slapping their ass every chance he gets.
Yeah.
Like, as talented as Penta and Ray are, I mean, they really don't fucking do anything.
Right.
Like think
But they're getting paid.
think of it this way. Since I can't think of one legitimate story, angle, match, whatever they've had since their ladder match with the Bucks for the tag titles. And that was what?
Well, I mean, they've got their storyline with Andrade right now.
But that right now is centered more around Pac than anything else.
I know, but still, it's just.
And even if you put them with Andrade, I mean, again, what are they going to do? Because AEW has pigeonholed themselves to a point where, and I never thought I'd say this about tag team wrestling, but they got way too many fucking teams. Like, I mean, obviously they're one of the best tag teams, you know, up there with like FTR, Santana and Ortiz. I know you're gonna hate me saying this, but the Bucks, the Good Brothers, like that's a solid core to have. But even then, that's still too much because that's 5 teams all competing for one spot. And then you muck it up even more with when Trent comes back, you have Best Friends, you got Lucha Express, or whatever the fuck they are.
Jurassic Express.
Jurassic Express, thank you. What the hell did I say?
Lucha Express.
Oh, sorry. I've got
Everybody get on your train.
I don't know. I had a Lucha House Party and Jurassic Express just merge in my head for no good reason. Jurassic Express. Who else? I mean, there's
you got the Fat Bucks there now,
right? Private Party. I mean, it's a clusterfuck in that division.
Everything in AEW is a clusterfuck. See, that's the part that, like, you're negating the fact that AEW doesn't know what the fuck they're doing with any other talent or how to use any other talent. That doesn't negate the fact that they're still going to fucking hold on to them.
I don't know. I just have this feeling that I just don't see how Kenny walks away with the title. And I'll tell you this right now: if he does win, if by some hook, like by hook or by crook, they allow him to walk away with the belt still being on him this weekend, there's no fucking way to let him go over clean. It's going to be some kind of schmoz. Well, that's the only way. Like, there's no... Even though AAA doesn't, at least from what I remember, even though AAA doesn't have... They don't rely on that kind of booking as much as American wrestling companies do.
Right.
I think this might be an occurrence where a schmoz is the only way to allow it to happen, because you're not going to let Andrade lose clean coming back to AAA. It's not happening. So, I don't know. We'll see, though. By the way, for those of you who are wondering, as I cough, excuse me, for those of you who are wondering, finding TripleMania broadcast live anywhere in America is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. But there is a Twitch streamer that I figured out is going to be, for lack of a better phrase, simulcasting it in a live stream. If you want to know that information, I'll post a link in the. If you check us out on YouTube, I'll post a link in the description afterwards.
There we go. Yeah.
Any hooser. Let me just get into it because I really want to know your opinion on this guy.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck did I do?
This is, for those of you watching on YouTube, you see what he just reacted to. For those of you just listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, first of all, thank you very much. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and give us a review. Rate and review us, please. For those of you watching on YouTube, the banner I put up to describe our next segment is, quote, "You misogynistic son of a bitch," which, excuse me, didn't get the mute button quick enough. Which, is actually the headline title for my mental health podcast that you might want to check out, called "The Space Between Your Ears." But for a totally different reason. I don't know if you heard what I said under the cough. I'm pretty sure you did.
I heard that clack, clack, clack.
Andrew Cuomo. Any hooser. Please tell me you know what happened with our governor.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Just you gave me a no sell, so I just wanted to just see if you knew what I meant by that. Okay, but it's kind of in the same vein. What I'm bringing up. So Joey Ryan, number one, he's getting booked again. I don't know if you've been seeing this. He's been getting booked on random shows recently.
Yeah,
Not that you would give a shit, but I just
no,
thought you.
trust me, because I'm still seeing all that because the fact that Pinky Sanchez has been trying to fucking out the promoters as being shitbags, and they've been trying to fucking, and Joey Ryan and his buddies have been trying to bury Pinky in the process. And they've gone so far as to stalking Pinky's girlfriend at her job.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh yeah,
That's wonderful. But that's not why we're going to talk about this misogynistic son of a bitch. For whatever reason, I still follow Joey Ryan on Instagram. I guess it's the wrestling journalist in me. But he posted a picture. I think this was Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday afternoon he posted a picture where he's clearly in the KABC radio 790 AM studios. I'm not 100% sure where KABC is. I want to say it's in the LA area. I could be wrong. But it's him with two radio hosts, one of them being a young female, which even adds to the immense smell of bullshit to this. But anyways, so the caption reads, "This Thursday at KABC Radio has a news story on, quote, wronged men of the hashtag #MeToo era, and asked me to speak on it. Before you assume anything, despite never acting violent or threatening to anyone, I saw hashtag speaking out as a teachable moment and hope this conveys that." You would think that after the shit that brewed involving him over the last 18 months, he would have at least considered a PR rep to run shit by or an agent to run shit by instead of just what I'm assuming was a unilateral decision and move. Because as much as I think it's a bad look for the radio station, as someone who used to work in radio, it's just a bad look to Joey, in my opinion, because now we're going back to a point where when all this shit came out with him, this caused the victims to have to relive all the horrors all over again inside their heads.
Yep.
Now, after shit's died down, we've gone through a pandemic, so there's more important shit in life to worry about. Things are finally being normalized to a degree again, unless you get the Delta variant, which we're not going to talk about because this isn't a political show. And everything seems to be hunky-dory again, quote unquote. This motherfucker decides to just fan the flames again. And let's just fucking do it again.
That's what they're all doing. They're like, oh, this shit breezes over. Like, that's not how this works. You got Joey Ryan, who's still did they dismiss the lawsuit he had against Impact for wrongful termination? I don't even know if that's still in litigation or not. But he keeps like if he thinks he keeps like spouting off his innocence, that this shit's gonna go away, and it's not, because there's literally, personally, no female workers and women around the business who Joey Ryan did advances to, who when speaking out happened, said, I felt uncomfortable, but did not name him by name because they knew he was going to give shit like this. So there's more women out there than they think. But that's the trend, is all these guys that were getting Me Too'd all of a sudden think like, oh, it's wrestling, and it's the boys' business and all this shit. It's gonna blow over. I'm gonna be able to come back. Or either that, or they have to find a way to make everything about them. You got Joey Ryan, this freaking doing this bullshit fucking radio piece. You got freaking Jimmy Havoc showing up in a Best Buy shirt, and it's like, oh, his life outside of wrestling after he retired. Motherfucker, you didn't retire. You got fucking blackballed. Or Mike Elgin posting 3 suicide notes a week.
Well, it's interesting they mentioned that because for those of you who didn't know about this, I'm assuming you do the same as me. I am in a couple different, like, various wrestling fan groups just because, a lot of the shit they post is memes, and I find them mostly entertaining. But the other part of it is there's some people who also use it to post stories, outside the ring stories, or stuff similar to that, to help fans get a full perspective on things. And one of the things that one of those wrestling groups shared that I follow was a post from Michael Elgin on Sunday morning. Actually, it was early Sunday afternoon. He posted essentially what read like a suicide note. Now, I haven't heard anything else since then, so I'm assuming Michael Elgin's okay.
Yeah.
But you say this is a theme for him.
Yes.
Okay. What part did, because again, my memory is kind of shoddy when it comes to the Me Too movement when all that happened, because it impacted so many different professions. It impacted movies, TV, wrestling, all kinds of shit, sports even. And I'm not saying wrestling is a sport. I mean, like, mainstream sports. What role did Elgin have in all of this? Like, I'm not trying to play stupid. I just honestly don't remember.
He got nailed in speaking out for treating a lot of women in the locker room like shit and making advances and yada yada yada. He was one of the bigger names that they came out and they were like, by the way, there was a whole bunch of people, and since then he's been like, everyone only hears one side of the story, blah blah blah, and like almost immediately right off the bat when they were like the second like Impact released him and people started canceling his bookings, he's just like, oh, I'm not long for this world. Oh, I'm not going to be here to be a father to my son and all this shit. And just every couple of months, he just, oh, people aren't mentioning me. I'm going to post some stuff about how I might not be here tomorrow and all this shit.
Because if I remember correctly, like, the bigger names I recall from the origins of the movement were Joey, Elgin, Jimmy Havoc. Hold on. There's shit.
It's a bunch of UK guys.
David Starr, I think, was one, correct? Who was the guy that Ospreay was catching shit for defending? I remember Ospreay was catching shit because who was it?
Yeah, because he was basically defending a guy that raped a girl. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I can't remember if it was a booker or if it was another talent in the UK.
I think it was. I think it was a backstage. It wasn't an actual word. It was a.
Oh, it was a backstage hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a booker or a backstage person. Yeah.
And then I want to. Who did WWE release?
They investigated a lot of people, but
well, I know they investigated. Like, Velveteen Dream is one of those guys that you always heard stuff, but there was never officially stuff.
Investigation. Austin Theory, he pretty much got cleared.
Right, I remember that But there was somebody they actually released that people suspected. I'm trying to remember who it was.
I know there was.
And it was somebody that was down in the Tampa area. It wasn't somebody on main roster.
Yeah, it was someone in NXT.
It was somebody in the PC, and I can't remember who it was. And honestly, it's not even worth bringing up. I mean, the point being, it's like, you would think these guys would have some kind of common sense when it comes to PR. Because in the end, and this is something that is taught early on, or we should be if you're a halfway decent fucking wrestling trainer, it's taught early on for guys who are new to the business. And you have to treat you and yourself, your body, your brain, your reputation, you have to treat it like a fucking business. In the end, you're Bobby Ocean Incorporated, you're JJ Alexander Incorporated, you're Brian Cady Incorporated, you're
a brand.
You're a fucking brand. You're Johnny Gargano Incorporated. Like, you have to treat yourself in a corporate way, which means you can't say or do stupid shit and expect for it to get swept under the rug, or just for, because in the end, like, so here's a perfect example, okay? Not everybody in this business, in fact, I would say 98% of people in this business don't get second chances like the Randy Ortons or Jeff Hardys of the world, okay? And some would say they're on their, like, 8th chances by now. But that's not an argument for right now. Those are two lucky motherfuckers. Shawn Michaels was a lucky motherfucker. Scott Hall was a lucky motherfucker, okay? They all got chance after chance after chance through, whether it was rehab, surgeries, time off, whatever, suspensions. And, obviously Scott found his way after he was out of the ring. HBK found himself during his first retirement. Randy, some would argue his recent, he was gone recently because of a suspension. So I'm not going to really touch that. Jeff, everybody knows about Jeff Hardy's fuck ups.
Dog.
Like in the last week alone, I think I watched 2 or 3 different things on YouTube about Victory Road 2011, which if you don't know anything about that, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, go look up the shit that, like, I think Cornette talk. I've heard Cornette talk about it. Bischoff was the interesting one because he was supposed to be off camera that night. Have you listened to him talk about it?
Briefly before, but I know they just touched on it because it's a 10-year anniversary.
Okay, yeah. So they covered it on his podcast, 83 Weeks. And the story essentially is, I'm going to try to surmise it because I know we're kind of in a time constraint because we both have shit to do. Huh?
Yeah, he had to go out and call the Iggy. He wasn't planning on TV at all.
Yeah, so Bischoff, and I don't even know if he was really on TV much at this point. He was mostly just behind the scenes running shit. So, and he even said, he hates crowds. So he would typically watch shows, even back in WCW, he would typically watch shit from a trailer.
Right.
So eventually the agent, and this is the important part of this, I don't know if he was covering somebody's ass by saying this, or if he legit didn't remember. He said he didn't specifically remember who the agent was for the match. But anyways,
I'm saying that before.
It came to go time essentially, and the agent was having a hard time finding Jeff.
Finding Jeff, yeah.
Eventually, Bischoff came out of his trailer, and as he did that, I guess some backstage hands helped the agent find Jeff and lead him to Gorilla. He wasn't close to Jeff, but he could tell from the relatively short distance between him and Gorilla that Jeff was fucked up.
Yep.
And he had walked by Dixie at this point because Dixie was at the go position. He walked right by Dixie. She didn't say a fucking thing. Eric could tell that he was fucked. He even kind of gave the side eye to the agent asking what's up. And the agent was like, I don't fucking know, but he's not good to go. So Bischoff basically went to Dixie. And this is with Sting waiting to go out. Sting hadn't even gone out yet. Jeff was first out. So Sting's at go. Bischoff walks up to Dixie at the go and goes, what the fuck are we going to do? Crickets. Fucking crickets. Because Dixie Carter isn't a wrestling person. She's a fucking money person, okay?
Yep.
She's a bean counter. She's not a fucking wrestling person. So Sting goes out, and Bischoff says, fuck it, I'll do something. And that's what led to him going out, cutting the awkward-ass promo, telling Jeff what was going to happen, telling, I think it was Brian Hebner that was the official for the match, told him what was happening, told Sting, drop him, pin him, don't let him kick out, and that was that. But, like, if you have, like, the thing is, as crazy as that story sounds, you need to see the fucking video from the event to really grasp how fucking out of it Jeff was. So if you haven't seen it, go fucking find the video. It's not that hard to find on YouTube. Jeff was gone. And that's without closing his eyes to show the shut eyes in his makeup. Like, he was fucking gone. Just bad. But anyways, getting back to the point I was making, you're a business. You treat it like a business and own up to your mistakes. And clearly, a good amount of these guys are not owning up to their fucking mistakes. Or if they are, they're doing it to look good for a year or two. And then they're saying, okay, everybody forgot about it by now. Like WWE is every 3 months with creative. Oh, they forgot about that by now. No, they fucking didn't. Like, people don't forget about you reportedly, strong-arming a girl into having sex. People don't forget that shit. They don't.
Yeah.
All right? So, I don't know. It's just... I don't know. People boggle my mind. Let's see. Where else do we want to go today? We're all over the place.
Speaking of, you're a brand.
Oh, go ahead.
Remember I told you I found a little excerpt from a few years ago I wanted to read?
What excerpt? I'm sorry.
I said I found something from a few years ago that I wanted to read when we did the show.
Yes.
Yeah. So that kind of ties into that.
Go ahead.
So it's about how you're a brand and how things in hindsight, like seeing the forest from the trees, basically. So I'm going to pull this up. So I'm going to pull this up on the side here, but I'm going to read this verbatim from what I found. Okay. Oh. Yes, I know it's the mailman. All right. So as this month is the 10-year anniversary of the Victory Road, and this is also the 6-year anniversary of another indie wrestling incident. So let me pull this up. Here we go.
Is this something I know about?
I told you about it. I said I'm going to read this on air.
I remember you. I'm drawing a blank as to what it was about. But go ahead. I'm sure I'll remember once you start the story.
Right. It's a little bit of a. It's actually kind of put out into layers, but I'll read it as it's written. All right. So this will be divided into several sections, so try to keep up. Also, non-wrestling friends, this may not be the rant for your personal entertainment, but if you're watching this show, you obviously know what wrestling is.
Should I put this up right now? Is this kind of the direction this segment's gone?
It isn't behind the black ball, no.
Oh, okay.
Because we'll go back to something that's happened for a long time.
All right, so we'll stick with misogynistic son of a bitch. Go ahead.
You can consider this time with the professor, if you shall. Imagine I'm Mike Tenay right now.
Oh, Jesus. Time with the Professor with J.J. Alexander.
All right. So, Section 1. Names, drawing power, and internet fame. In this business, there are far too many workers who still haven't quite made that crossover out of sheer markdom. They may think that they're a seasoned worker, but in reality, they're still not far removed from buying a ticket and sitting in the crowd. People like this need to realize that nobody on the indies that has not appeared on WWE television is a name. I don't care how many of your internet bros try to claim somebody is a huge draw, you're fucking wrong. When an indie worker claims they deserve to charge $1,000 for an appearance, that means they legitimately think they will draw 100 people just by themselves. The vast majority of the time, this is not the case, as can be seen where there are videos of shows with these people in them with crowds of less than 200 people. Even former WWE wrestlers have limited drawing power. Why do you ask? Because it's their job to show up and work their match, sign autographs, etc. That's it. It's still the promoter's job to put an ass every 18 inches. Also, the draw of the show is a combined fucking effort. No one person is ever the main draw of a show. And if you think otherwise, once again, you're fucking wrong. I've been booked on shows where there's been over 600 people in attendance and only local guys on the entire card. On the flip side, I've worked a show where the main event involved 3 ECW originals and a retelling of a storied feud, while ECW had just been rebranded and had TV, and it literally drew 5 paid. I've seen shows advertised with ex-WWE guys who charge exorbitant amounts for appearances, only draw 400 to 500 people, which in hindsight was hardly or not even enough to pay for just their appearance. There is only one surefire, absolute, guaranteed draw in this business, and that name is marketing. If you get the word out, the people will come. Will you get an extra 5 or 10 fans by having people on your show? Sure, but you can't depend on much more than that. The casual wrestling fan goes to a wrestling show for one reason: wrestling. It doesn't matter who is wrestling. As long as they enjoy themselves, you have a repeat customer. You know why NASCAR fans go to Talladega? Because they fucking like NASCAR, not because of one particular driver. Section 1, subsection A. No indie wrestler is your total draw. It is a combined effort. A sold-out crowd is based on a perfect storm of solid workers, top-notch matches and stories, and a fuckload of proper advertising. And if you think just making a Facebook event and having your friend share the image of a poster you never actually print out is sufficient advertising, just get the fuck out of this business now. Also, when you say, these guys sold out this arena in Japan, you're fucking wrong. In Japan, wrestling and baseball are bigger than you could ever fucking fathom compared to the US. They have tradition. And you know what else they have? A fuck ton of guys from Japan that draw just as fucking much, whether a couple of Americans are on the show or not. Section 1, subsection B. There's no such thing as internet famous when it comes to independent wrestling. Those two words are an oxymoron when combined. You can sit there and tell me till you're blue in the face about how, but this fan cam video got 1 million YouTube hits, and I will say to you, what is the name of the company where it happened? What town was it in? What was the name of the building? And if the guy is so fucking famous, why are there less than 200 people in the crowd and they are still visibly empty seats? The answer is because your idea of fame just really shows how easily you can still be worked. You want proof? Go up to a casual WWE fan and ask them if they've ever heard of Impact, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, the Bullet Club, the Young Bucks, etc., and watch the blank stare of confusion you get in return. Section 2. Psychology, heritage, and suspension of disbelief. Whether you want to admit it or not, kayfabe is still alive and well in a major demographic of wrestling fans. There is a world outside of Facebook and message boards. Just as recently as yesterday, I had a random fan on the street who was interested in a show I was advertising say to me, I heard some of that stuff is scripted. That's not true, is it? That's where dollar signs emerge. Not pandering to your 5 to 10 you used to sit within the crowd at indie shows before you decided you want to train to be a wrestler yourself. It's that suspension of disbelief that draws people in still to this day. You may want to bitch about how my way is old, outdated, has no place in wrestling anymore, blah, blah, blah. And that's because you decided to hit on the heritage of this business that you profess to want to be a part of. Wrestling has not evolved into what you see on a lot of indie shows now. It's been bastardized. High spots have lost meaning. Rest spots have been traded in for false finishes. Having one match like that on a show is one thing, if it's the main event or close to it. But when every match does it, nothing is entertaining anymore. Even the fucking circus still knows how to book out an entire performance to have ups and downs and a build towards something spectacular for the finale. You don't see the acrobats working without a net as the opening fucking act. You don't think psychology has a place in today's business, I dare you to go back to your trainer and tell them that. Tell them, I don't care what you told me. It's a different game now, and I don't need to adhere to what you say, old man. Section 3, the convergence of the previous sections. And here's where we get to where it all became 6 years ago. The Young Bucks video circulating makes zero fucking sense. They're super kicking a fan and his child for no apparent reason, and the crowd is fucking cheering. Because 2 adults assaulting a child is perfectly fine, right? Even if it was made to garner heel heat, it's still fucking wrong. You all wanted to jump down Chris Dickinson's throat for the Kimberly spot, but at least they're both workers. Not to mention that the Bucks let this kid beat on them, and they fucking sold it because, you know, a highly decorated and world-renowned tag team getting their asses handed to them simultaneously by a fucking 8-year-old is completely plausible, right? Also, the defense that the kid asked for it for his birthday. So, A true professional would shy away from that and tell them, no, we can't do that. It's really dangerous and you can get really seriously hurt, little buddy. Instead, what do? Completely throw heritage and psychology out the fucking window by exposing the inner workings of the business to a fucking child. Welcome to throwing future money down the drain for the sake of a cheap pop at an indie show. And for those of you that want to say, yeah, but this gives the Bucks more exposure, which means they'll get more bookings, and the promoter who let it happen reaps the benefits. Once again, you're fucking wrong. True promoters will see this as careless and will shy away from booking two asshats who would do such a thing. The promoter who let it happen, good luck finding a venue to run in going forward once any local community group sees that video and says, if this is the kind of activity you condone, we don't want you running in our town. Eventually, there will be less promoters who are marks for themselves and their buddies running shows because they will go bankrupt by booking internet darlings and not advertising. When that happens, I guarantee you the Young Bucks will really start to at the last time they were offered a tryout from WWE and turned it down because they felt as though it was below them. 6 years ago, written by yours truly. 6 years later, that indie company is out of business. Nobody remember. I had to Google the name of the indie company. Nobody remembers the town it happened. Nobody remembers the name of the show, the name of the venue, nothing. The Young Bucks, well, they had to create their own company because they burned bridges. Like, I'm sure if they were still touring the indies, they could still work pre-PWG and work here and there, but they found a money mark because they were never they had to make their own company because they were never going to get signed by the biggest company on the planet. Your brand, going back to it, you're a brand, and shit like this still follows you to this day. Where be adults, for Christ's sake. Stop acting like children and not pandering to children. And one of the other reasons I wanted to bring it up, crossing over with your brand, I wanted to cover the whole internet famous thing because there was an article that there was an interview with Matt Cardona that came out recently where he basically bitched and whined about how he didn't get pushed by in WWE when he was doing the whole internet champion thing, and Triple H called him a mark for having a belt made. And Triple H made a good point in that because he's like, oh, blah, 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 I'm so huge. He's like, yeah, that's why the arenas are half empty, right? And don't get me wrong. I loved watching Long Island Ice Z. I loved watching Z True Long Island Story. I watched it all the time. It was funny as shit. Doesn't mean people were going to see him. Like, the part that we want to see is on YouTube for free. Why am I going to go pay for a ticket? Internet famous is not famous. Also, why Dynamite's not drawing more than it does. Like, you literally have a company filled with internet darlings, and the only reason they pop ratings is when they bring in ex-WWE guys. Just a little bit of food for thought. That's all.
As soon as you got to section 3, I was like, oh, okay. Now I remember. Oh, boy.
But and there was.
Why does it not shock me, by the way, that you are the one that wrote that diatribe in like the outline form you'd find like the bylaws of the Major League Baseball or something like that? Section 1, subsection A. That does not shock me at all.
Well, I mean, I like to keep a pretty straight train of thought on things sometimes, and just
this is why I love this guy.
But I mean, also, there was the other thing that I wanted to, because I forgot there was a third thing that I wanted to connect that to, and that was with the releases this week, or well, last week. The big group of releases that surprised everyone.
The Black Friday part 9,476.
Right. And it sucks when people lose their jobs, obviously. But everyone talking about NXT being rebranded and all this shit, and no one under 6 feet and no one over 30. That's all bullshit. But I think what was done was to send a message. There's a lot of guys who were in NXT who were sitting on the laurels, who thought that, well, I'm already here, so they'll give me TV time when they give me TV time. Or I was an internet darling, so I'm safe, Bobby Fish. And that's not the case. And I think Vince kind of came in and cleared house. And that you could that wasn't budget cuts. NXT guys start at like 50 grand a year. Like, it was a drop in the bucket. But what it was
basically Vince's way of saying, we're not the charity named AEW. Shape up or get the fuck out.
We're not a charity, and you say that you fought your whole life to be here. Now you are here. Prove you want to fucking be here.
Right.
Like, you profess that you want to be on the grandest stage of them all. Well, now, you just walked in the door. It's like, have you ever seen the movie How to Lose Friends and Alienate People? Mm-hmm. Simon Pegg, when he goes and he starts talking to Jeff Bridges, and he was just like, Jeff Bridges is like, you think you've arrived? He's like, no, right. That's not how this is. There's 7 rooms. You're in the first room. I'm in the 7th. That's indie talent coming in, and Vince. You're in the first room. I'm in the 7th. You're going to have to claw and scratch your way, and in about a year, maybe you'll find that door to the second room. But you can't just automatically think that you've got it made once you get fucking signed. I mean, look at guys that got signed, that got released right away, like Anthony Green. Or freaking, I mean, and there's guys that literally wanted it that got released, like EJ Nduka. Like, that dude's got it all. And like, he never even got on TV. Mm-hmm. But it's just the fact of you have to act like you want to fucking be here. There's people that are on that list. I laughed my balls off when I saw Kona Reeves, because I remember the last time Kona Reeves had a televised match. I was there. It was the pre-tape to the fucking takeover in Bridgeport where Gargano dropped the belt to Cole. He had a squash match with Keith Lee, June of 2019. That was the last time Kona Reeves was on TV.
Wow.
2 fucking years he's been collecting a check. Not on TV, not touring, obviously. And like, he was one of those, I've got it made because there's a Samoan somewhere in my bloodline.
Right.
So,
it's the totem pole logic. Like, you can't, just because you were, this combining 2 trains of thought into one. Totem pole logic being you're starting at the bottom, work way to the top. The other part of the logic is you're going from being a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in an immensely large pond, and you need to fucking eat your way into being a big fish.
Right.
Essentially. So I guess what gives us the transition to WWE talk for the time being. You mentioned the releases. The only names that really caught my eye at all, Leon Ruff had his 15 minutes with the whole North American title fiasco, but they kind of ran out of what to do with him at this point. Same with Bobby Fish. Once UE split up, there wasn't any real. There's no real spot for him. There just isn't.
Injury prone.
Right. I mean, and that too. Mercedes. I feel like we kind of saw Mercedes coming, but not on these terms. I think I kind of saw it more as it was going to be on her terms. Like, she was going to be one to pull the trigger.
So as far as Mercedes goes, and she's actually spoken since the release. Mm-hmm. But Mercedes, like, I'm not extremely close to her, but we have the same trainer. She's from the town that, what do you call it? Like, I lived in Waterbury same time she did. We were both training at the Proving Grounds in East Maine. Mercedes has traveled across the globe. She has done a lot, and she got on TV. That's something that no other company ever offered her. Like, I think she did a couple of spots of Ring of Honor, but not when they had TV. Impact never said boo at her. Fucking, like, WWE, whether she was on the main roster or not, she got on TV. And that's something she wanted to do before she was done. And I mean, she's got a family life. She's got a kid. Like, she fulfilled part of what her dream was. And now she gets to do whatever she wants on her own terms, because she said, she's like, I'm by no means am I done. But she got to, she got that bucket list item crossed off, and she's not bitter about it.
Right.
And, yeah. And I mean, like, because I love her. She's the same age as me. Like, there's not a lot of opportunities once you hit over 40.
Right.
So she took what she got and she was happy with it.
Yeah. 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 I wouldn't say she was necessarily bitter about it, but I mean, like, I don't know. I just felt like if it was going to end, it wasn't going to be as part of a massive cut. I don't know. I don't know. Also, but either way,
the writing was a little on the wall when she got yanked from the Retribution program. And right. I think that was her own doing. She said she didn't want to do it.
Right. Okay. Oh, that makes sense. I'm trying to think who else is part of that.
Bronson Reed. Great value, Jeff Cobb is bye-bye.
I'll get back to Bronson. I'll get back to Bronson in a second, because it leads me to a question. So hang on. The only other one that kind of caught my eye, aside from Bronson, yeah, just because you just put him on TV a month ago with Roddy and Malcolm Bivens, and
even before that, he's been at Suzuki. But even before that, he was with Malcolm for like the last couple of months on TV.
Right, and then you just set up Diamond Mine with him, and then all of a sudden, deuces. Like, I don't know. That just kind of. I don't know. I'm not saying that he was a necessity for the brand or the company, but it's just kind of awkward, because it's one of those things where you see him on TV every week for like a month or two straight, and then he's not there, and you're just moving on, and like there's it's kind of like, what the fuck.
So I think the kid's a solid mechanic. I think he still has a lot of room to grow. I think he's going to go hone his craft other places. I mean, that's a kid that trained. That's a kid that he was a young boy. He trained in the New Japan dojos. Like, he's got the discipline, and I think that he just needs to go find his voice. And then they'll look at him. He's still very young, and there's no reason why they won't take a look at him in the future.
Also, yeah, he could be eventual rehire. I have no doubt. Yeah, he's young enough.
Also, one of the things I think that was the major backfire was before COVID hit, was there was supposed to be the beginning of the global territory expansion, where they were supposed to open up
Japan and India.
And NXT India and NXT, probably NXT South America, I think, was on there. And so that's why they had all these extra NXT guys, because they were going to push them out to the different spots. And it's just, when COVID hit, they were just like, well, we got all these guys and we've got nowhere to send them. There's no need. There's no reasoning to say that that's not going to happen in the future. As far as everyone's just like, oh, freaking Vince is, putting trips in the corner and all this shit. No, it's the way things are right now. And we're in uncharted waters with dealing with having to cut back everything for a year with no audiences, but still run a show, to having audiences, to possibly losing audiences again. It's trying times, and not everyone no one person has all the answers.
Plans change, pal. I can't do my Vince very well right now. My throat's still fucked. But anyways, so you mentioned Bronson. I'm not going to defend him or shit on him. It is what it is. Or great value Bam Bam Bigelow, however you want to label it. Which brings me to a question. Are we at a point like anybody who's anybody that has a lick of historical, how should I put this? Knows their wrestling history, particularly Vince McMahon wrestling history.
Mm-hmm.
He has a hard-on for big guys. Like, there's a reason Hulk Hogan was the guy who changed shit for him. There's a reason Warrior got to the lengths he got. There's a reason why he loved Nash as Diesel. And I could go on and on. It's the reason why he kept giving Sid chance after chance, so on and so forth. Have we gotten to a point, though, where maybe Vince is losing that mentality a little bit of, I have to have, like, you could, like, obviously Omos is in the role he's in. Like, is he getting to a point where I don't need to have a ton of monster big guys? Like, when you think 80s Vince, you think he had fucking Andre, Akeem, fucking Bundy, Stud. And if guys weren't tall, they were fucking bodybuilders, steroids guys, whatever.
Right.
Nowadays, I mean, Drew is big. LSD is big. I wouldn't really call Roman big.
Roman's big, dude.
I mean, he's
the only
not
time
like
Roman doesn't look big is when you put him next to Rock.
But I mean, like, in comparison to the guys I just named, he's not big. Like, he looks he looks somewhat above average next to LSD and Drew.
I mean, he's a solid 280 and he's 6'4". Like,
the point being, like because the way that these bigs are coming out and not really trained like the bigs of the 80s and 90s that Vince had a hard-on for, is he at a point where he's less enamored than he was in the past? Because, like, you look at these bigger guys, like Bam Bam was a bigger guy, but he did flippy shit, and I think that kind of cost him a little bit when he worked for Vince. Vader was past his prime, number one, and number two, he also would like to go up on the top rope and do fucking the moonsaults and shit. So I feel like, I don't know, Vince and Vader eventually had a weight problem. We see what's going on with Chris, with Dijakovic. We see the way Keith Lee's been kind of he's here but not here kind of booking.
Yeah.
I mean, have we just gotten to a point where, because of the way big men have evolved in the business to being more of the athletic type than the just stand there and look big type, like, are we at a point where Vince is kind of like, don't really need him or want him? Fuck it.
No, I think Vince is of the mentality that he wants bigger guys. I think Vince is less enamored with the business as a whole. And he doesn't want to admit that there's smaller guys doing more stuff now. It took WCW going out of business for him to give opportunities to these smaller guys like Guerrero and Malenko and Saturn and Chavo and Ray and like all them. Like, he was still of the big guy mentality even through the Attitude Era. I mean, look at the corporate ministry. Was there a single person in there who was under 6'3"? Like, it's Vince is still set in his ways, and he thinks that he's going to I don't know. I don't know how to put this. He learned briefly in the mid 2000s how to use big guys as an attraction, and now he wants everyone to be an attraction. It just doesn't. That's not how the
Mid
dice roll.
2000s. So
Ruthless
are you
aggression
talking?
era.
Huh? Well, I know what
Ruthless
era
aggression.
you mean. I'm just trying to think. What? Batista and then who else?
But like as far as like big guys who like were used sparingly, and like what do you call it? Batista, Taker was kind of used sparingly, but he was there to do his job. Big Daddy V,
He was also hurt a
Khali.
lot.
What do you call it? Big Daddy V, Khali, Jada.
We're talking Big Daddy V with the pajamas, or Big Daddy V when it was managed by fucking.
Striker.
I was gonna say Tony Atlas, but okay, that works too.
When did Atlas manage? Atlas didn't manage. No, Atlas managed Mark Henry.
I think he briefly managed Big Daddy V first, though, didn't he?
Nope. Striker managed him.
All right, I'll have to look that up.
Because what do you call it? And they were basically trying to make V into Abdullah the Butcher at that time.
Which wasn't going to work because they weren't doing that version of ECW. That was never going to work.
I know. You know this. I know this. But I mean, and they had Mark Henry at the time. But I mean, and they used
like the most extreme thing that version of ECW did was by accident when fucking Bob Holly went through that table and had a huge gash from top to bottom on his back.
Right.
Like that was
right.
That was really it.
Right. Even Brock was used as an attraction back then. It was used sparingly. But I mean, it was a world
trying to be a Minnesota Viking.
What?
Before he tried being a Minnesota Viking.
Yeah. But I mean, it was, it's Vince is like, okay, we gave them 10 years of smaller guys. Now I want to revive the land of the Giants, and he needs to realize that it's not his time anymore. But he doesn't want to let it go. I mean, look it up. He's fucking Odyssey Jones has had 2 matches on TV, and he's trying to push him into the fucking main roster.
Yeah, but it just feels like Keith Lee. It feels like a weird merge of Mark Henry and Keith Lee.
He reminds me of babyface Curtis Hughes.
See, I don't remember anything being babyface about Curtis Hughes. I don't remember him being an asshole, so I can't even say anything. Way
before Mr. Hughes, go back anyway, early 90s. Big Cat Curtis Hughes. That's Odyssey Jones.
All right, I'll have to look that up. Let me see here.
Was it AEW or was it World Class? It was one of the two. But yeah.
Why did I feel like Atlas ever managed
a foot?
Yes, I am looking this up while we're recording. Why do I feel like he managed? I don't fucking know. I'm an asshole. Anyways, feet. Give me feet.
You the Samoan Joe.
What else? All right. So let's just get into. All right. So I'm glancing through my notes from the past week of WWE TV, starting with last week's SmackDown. Nothing really.
It looks like they're teasing a Finn heel turn.
Come back to that.
Which could be good.
Oh, first thing that bugged me about WWE TV the past week. Can we get Shotzi to hit fucking somebody with that thing? Or is she just going to keep airmailing that stupid fucking missile on the tank every week?
Listen, it's a lot harder to aim that from a longer distance than she was in NXT. It's a lot longer of a ramp.
All right, but bitches can fucking move in the ring. Look at how the fucking thing is angled and move left to right.
It's hard.
Like, I'm not putting it completely on Shotzi.
Thing, dude. I mean, she's been getting pretty close.
I'd laugh so hard if they ever caught tape of it hitting Michael Cole one week. It's like, and just put it on loop for Pat McAfee to laugh his ass off about. Anyways, not that I hate Michael Cole. I like Michael Cole. I'm just saying I think that'd be funny as hell. Anyways, we all know Edge Rollins is being set up for SummerSlam. I think we can pretty much say Nakamura and Apollo Crews is being set up for SummerSlam probably. They're booking it, so I think you have the Mysterios and the Usos in the pre-show of SummerSlam. We all knew they'll be put on the pre-show. They haven't booked it yet officially, but I'm pretty sure they'll put them on the pre-show again.
I thought they have booked it.
I don't think so, but I'll look it up in a little bit. The whole weird Bianca, Sasha, Zelina shit, whatever. I mean, I wouldn't call the Balor heel turn quite yet, just because it all depends on what happens at Slam. If Vince actually has the fucking balls to really put the belt on John. If he's putting the belt on John for a short reign, I maybe could see Finn turning if they're trying to shift Roman towards a different program.
You see, or here's what could happen is...
Or Finn could fuck over Cena, and then that could be something with that.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, those are your two most likely angles for this Roman Cena match. Either Cena wins, or Finn fucks over Cena to help Roman win.
I could see, because I really want to see, I want to see a Prince Devitt Finn versus John Cena. I think there's money in that program.
I agree. So that's that. Raw from Monday. Please hold while I scroll my notes. If you didn't see Randy Orton laying out Riddle coming, then you're a fucking schmuck. I mean, it happened. It's a fucking. It's.
Well,
they've only done this program 5 times.
Second episode. No, but here's the thing, though.
Pick a year where Randy was in a tag team and ended with Randy laying out.
Right. Here's what I think happened, though. I think that before Randy had to disappear for 7 weeks, I think that they were going to go through with them winning the fucking tag belts and then, or getting to a tag title match and then doing the split. But because he was gone, they moved that story over to Ali and Mansoor. Because they're literally doing the same shtick. I want to be your friend. I don't want to be your friend. I'm going to be your friend. I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah, but they're booking him against fucking Mason T-Bar.
Right, for now. But that's to tread water until the Saudi show where the Saudi prince goes, put the belt on them.
Just like that, too.
Yeah.
Just like that, with that accent and everything. What else? Karrion Kross does what he should have done to Jeff Hardy the first time.
So let's put that
suddenly we have a doll who can wink. That's nice.
Whole lot of Wyatt chants.
Oh yeah, I meant to mention that. Hey assholes! There's nothing she can fucking do about it. Fuck off.
They were doing it on Friday too.
What?
They were doing it on a Friday too, so it wasn't just during Alexa's shit. But it's just
they specifically weren't doing it until her match.
Right.
Like, I mean, really, she can't do anything about it. Her name isn't Stephanie McMahon. It's Alexa Bliss. Fuck off, all right? I mean, let it go.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's going to remedy itself within the next couple of months.
Oh, I agree, but like, I hate when people do that shit. Like, they can't do anything. They can't. Right. They just fucking can't. Miz can run. It's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle.
I guess it's a good thing he didn't need surgery on the ACL.
Yeah, it must have been a therapy only kind of thing. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah, which is good for him. And plus, it'll keep fucking U.S. title and Priest because he can go back to feuding with Miz again.
Can we just get Miz fucking over Priest when he goes for the U.S. title?
Yes.
Can we just skip the whole Priest beating Sheamus and then dropping it to Miz and just go right to Miz fucking over Priest and then beating Priest?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Miz is gonna fucking Priest ain't getting that belt.
Good. Thank God. LSD and MVP did a cringeworthy promo again. What else is new? Well, I shouldn't say they did a cringeworthy promo collectively. MVP was halfway decent, and then LSD was cringy at the end. That's how I'll put it.
Yeah, of course.
What else? Oh, one thing that caught my eye, just because I don't know what the fuck else he could be. Elias, not Elias anymore.
Well, yeah,
could be good. Could
you
be
can't
bad.
have two guys with guitars on the main roster, Pally.
Could be good. Could be. Well, you still have multiple guys with instruments.
Yeah, but you can't have two guitar guys.
Who gives a fuck? Unless your name is the Honky Tonk Man, who gives a fuck? Whatever. What else? NXT. Ember Moon couldn't compete for whatever reason, so Dakota Kai was put in there to beat Saray's unbeaten record, because that's a good way to fuck with her. Let her beat everyone for 2 months and then lose to Dakota fucking Kai.
See, my only issue with that is that Dakota should have gone over Dirty. She shouldn't have beaten Flat.
Thank you.
Like, if Dakota had gone over a Dirty, fine, because she's the heel. Because Dakota obviously needed the win going into TakeOver, but she shouldn't have beaten her Flat. She shouldn't have beaten her clean. That leaves nowhere to go. Like, obviously, Vince is putting the Iggy on undefeated streaks, as we have seen. So,
right. It's like he's like, oh, word for Goldberg. Let's just fucking put a streak on somebody every other year. Fuck it, why not?
I was like, no, I don't need, because he doesn't want to have to deal with that shit when they come to the main roster.
You know what I mean, though.
Right.
Let's see. Hit Row, they do a promo from a U-Haul truck, basically.
That was decent. MSK's promo, actually, I was impressed with.
Right. Only thing I wasn't the biggest fan of was Hit Row burning a lucha mask, but I'm not going to go down that road. We'll leave that alone.
$10 high spots mask, big deal.
Again, that's why I'm not going down that road, because it didn't look like a really good, legitimate mask. So I'm leaving it alone. Ted DiBiase and LA Knight and Cam Grimes, that whole clusterfuck story.
Well, I'm pretty sure I said it last week. They're like they set up the match. Grimes is going to win. He's going to get the $1 million title. He's going to hand it back to Ted.
Probably.
He's going to be like, I've already gone to the moon, and you've been here. And he's like, but this is Ted DiBiase.
To the moon. Sorry. I can still do that, but I can't do a Vince voice. I don't know why.
I felt so bad for Ilya Dragunov. There was zero crowd reaction when he came out at the beginning. Nobody knew who he was.
His entrance is it's very Russian. Like, I'm not even talking about just the song. I'm talking about like how he gets on the turnbuckle. He's like a fucking conductor of a goddamn orchestra. Like I love it. I pop for it because it's different. Right. It's just I don't know. I don't think the people knew how to fucking react to him. Yeah. What else? You mentioned Odyssey beating Trey Baxter. He's in the breakout tournament finals. As much as I love Carmelo Hayes, something tells me they're going to make Jones win the tournament.
I think Jones is going to win the tournament, and then he's going to get attacked by Ludwig Braka.
If they're putting him on TV already, maybe.
He was security this week.
I thought that was him.
Yeah.
You're talking about, if you're looking from our perspective, the far left?
Yeah.
Near O'Reilly?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I thought that was him. Somebody said something in one of my wrestling groups on Facebook. I know it's very specific. Priscilla Kelly, Gigi Dolan, whatever the fuck you want to call her.
Priscilla, Queen of the Trash Bags?
She made some kind of weird slight towards Darby Allin during her match. Did I miss something?
It's a possibility. I mean, because they're fucking split, so who fuck cares?
I knew this. I know the backstory. I don't know. I didn't catch whatever the fuck it was. I didn't know if maybe you noticed it.
It was Priscilla, Queen of the Trash Bag, so I didn't pay attention. No, what I think is hilarious is I don't know why Trips is putting any investment into this chick, because the moment they even try to consider her for the main roster, Bruce Richard's going to walk into Vince's office with a videotape of the tampon spot, and Vince is going to go, "Why is this bitch on my payroll?"
Anyways,
tell me I'm wrong.
Well, you really think she would bring that as an idea to the table?
What?
You really think she would bring that to the table as a fucking idea?
No, well, she'd be dumb enough to bring it as an idea. But no, I'm saying, like, to be like, oh, she's getting looked at. And then Bruce goes, yeah, this is the kind of shit she did on the indies. And Vince's like, I can't market this girl.
Okay.
Like, I'm surprised she got that far. Like, I think Trips only fucking signed her to fucking spite AEW. Like, I think that was one of those signings at the time where like Trips was starting to pull up the indie darlings. And she's not even an indie darling. She's fucking terrible.
Okay. Oh, so quick question. It goes back to the roster cuts we were discussing earlier, and I meant to mention it then. With all the manipulation of staffing, both in ring and out of ring, within the company, is this just like a one-off occasion in the history of the company where Nick Khan seems like a more important piece to Vince than Triple H is? Or is this just all just a stupid narrative that people online need to shut the fuck up about?
Nick Khan's just, he's being a numbers guy right now. Nick Khan is, how do I put this? Nick Khan is to what Todd Gordon was to Paul Heyman.
I was going to say Nick Khan is the new Linda McMahon. Because Linda was more the corporate. Like, I'm not saying Linda was responsible for hirings and firings, but like as far as like corporate inner workings, that was more Linda than. I know it's not a good example, but it's the only one that really exists before Nick came around.
Nick has a history of coming in to be the corporate cleaner. So like he's doing what he's done.
Oh, it's like the scene in Office Space where they bring in those two guys and they interview everyone and they decide who's gonna stay, who's gonna go.
Tell me what you do here, Kona Reeves.
I collect the welfare check every week. Excuse me? That's fucked up. I'm sorry, Kona. Not sorry. All right. I've been avoiding this topic long enough. Hold on. I've avoided this topic long enough. I'm going to say fuck you to 3 people today. Number 1, Enzo Amore. Fuck you. Why?
What do you do now?
Actually, you know what? I'm going to expound upon that. I'm going to add even more people to that. And I don't give a shit if this is burning a future bridge for me. Fuck Enzo Amore and Northeast Wrestling. Why?
Oh, dude, you're in good company.
You booked Enzo Amore against a guy with a fucking heart attack just sitting at an announce booth talking, and now you're going to fucking put Jerry Lawler in the ring? Suck a dick.
Oh, they booked Enzo versus Lawler for that one show?
Yeah, no, for
Jersey
the
show,
for the
whatever?
Poughkeepsie show. They put him in
Poughkeepsie,
there for the Poughkeepsie show, which is a huge card, including our boy Verna versus fucking Eddie Kingston. But now, one of the main matches they've been pushing is fucking Enzo versus Jerry the King Lawler, and Enzo's been putting out promos shitting on Lawler for the last 3 weeks, like he was facing fucking Matt Cardona. Jerry can't do anything. Like, we know this. It's scientifically proven. Jerry can't fucking do anything. Like, if anything, they're going to have Jerry come out and be like, not so fast, my friend. The ticker can't do it anymore. Here's your real opponent. He can't do it.
Huh?
He can't.
Huh?
I want you to tell me the cardiologist that's going to medically clear Jerry Lawler to get in a ring again for a 10-minute match. Go ahead. I'll wait, Enzo. I'll fucking wait. And Steve Credo over at Northeast Wrestling, I'll wait for you to tell me what cardiologist you know that would clear that match. I'll wait.
Carino's no. What?
Steve Credo helps book out Northeast Wrestling.
Well, he's the liaison for the WWE talent.
But he helps book out, like, the general population of the talent that's booked.
Yeah. That's right.
Suck
we
a
never
dick.
went over about how I can't stand Northeast Wrestling, have we?
No. And we'll save that because I just want to get through the 2 other fuck yous I've got. Number 2. Fuck you, Leo Rush. Okay?
But yeah.
I know we talked about how wrestling retirements are fucking... They're fake as shit. They're fake like 90% of the Divas tits from the fucking Attitude Era. This motherfucker, what are you doing?
Lottery balls, remember? Retirement.
Pick a retirement that's being shattered. Yeah, I know. This motherfucker claimed career-ending injury a few months ago, and now he's getting booked for a show in Los Angeles for New Japan Pro Wrestling this Saturday.
2 months.
Like, did I miss something? Did you really hate the MLW middleweight title that much? Did you really hate the idea of maybe getting a contract with AEW that much? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, is there no brain in there? He literally had everything on a silver platter for him. As much as I don't like the guy, he had Tony Khan eating out with one hand, and kind of sort of had Court Bauer eating out the other hand, where he was going to be able to make a fucking choice. And he said, fuck both of you, I'm retired. And now you're doing this New Japan shit this weekend. What are we doing? And number three. This actually kind of goes back to the misogynistic son of a bitch segment we did earlier. Fuck you, JT Dunn. And I don't give a shit I don't give a fuck if Brian Fury catches this segment or any segment I've done about JT Dunn. I don't give a fuck. Because honestly, I've never been booked by Chaotic. I probably never was going to to begin with. But fuck JT Dunn anyways. Okay? This motherfucker, from the story that you explained to me, and tell me if I've got it wrong, JJ, this motherfucker was accused about a decade ago of essentially being a pedophile towards a teenage girl. And now, that same teenage girl is going to fucking marry him.
I think it's the same girl. Don't quote me 100% because it might have been same family.
But still,
motherfucker. Yes.
Like, what? And you know what? I can't even put all the blame on JT. Oh, I don't know the fuck you. And you're probably going to say that's too far. No, fuck it, because they're allowing it. Fuck you, the girl's family. Like, are you stupid? JT Dunn has been the king of misdirection for a decade. He fucking misdirected Eric Newton, God bless his soul, into thinking I was a scumbag and Chris Envy was trying to buy up the company underneath him. Neither of which were true.
He emotionally abused Kimberly to the point where she was almost institutionalized.
He used and abused fucking Shelly Martinez to death till she walked out on him.
And cheated on her with Kimberly.
And what?
That Him and Shelly split up because Shelly caught him and Kimberly together.
Right. And I can only imagine the shit he's tried to pull on you in the past. As somebody who works in the New England area, I can only imagine the shit he tried pulling involving you or some of your boys from Defiant. Like,
he just always seems to think he knows everything about everything with me. It's not a smart move.
Oh, so you're the modern day.
Motherfucker tried to tell me one time that when him and David Starr were doing that juicy product bullshit.
Yes.
And they made those fake NWO shirts.
Yes.
When they were over as fuck and the shirt was OAF. I'm like, you're just selling shirts that say people are an O. Like, he told me, literally, I wish I could find the post somewhere. He told me that he legit sold 2,000 of those shirts. I'm like, you are full of shit, dude.
And if there were 2,000 sold, I highly doubt he was the one personally selling those, because David Starr was much more of a merch pusher than he ever was.
Right, but I was like, I've seen 2 people wearing those shirts, and you're claiming you sold 2,000 shirts. Like, no. And then way before pro wrestling tees was a thing. So, like,
right.
No.
Right. You're like the modern day Roddy Piper. Just when you think you have the answers, I change the questions. That wasn't the greatest Roddy Piper, but I tried. All right. Is there really any worthwhile and AEW shit to bring up? Oh, by the way, congratulations, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. They announced this morning they're expecting their first child in February. Congratulations. Just wanted.
Oh shit! I hadn't heard about that.
It literally they just posted. They literally just posted about it like a half hour before I got on the computer. So don't feel bad. It's okay. I just happened to be scrolling Instagram, and there's a picture of them with their dog and a picture of the fucking sonogram. That's
wow. Well,
yeah.
I guess
so
Candice is going to be taking time off.
Probably yeah. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. A little bit more.
So I've got some AEW notes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead with your notes, and then we'll see if you touch on the one thing I want to discuss. Oh, and let me put up the AEW TF banner. Hang on. Whoops. No. There we go. This is me not knowing how to work a computer, apparently. Hang on.
Computer.
Is it this one?
Stop all the downloads. Computer.
Go ahead.
Let's see. All right. Notes. Notice how the Elite always have to be the very first match or the main event every fucking week. I should say the
Are
Elite.
you shocked?
Yeah. Well, it's because they either have to be the top of the card or they have to be the first thing.
It's like saying the sky is blue.
They have to get the initial pop because everyone's going to see everything else fucking 1,000 times that night because nobody watches each other's matches in AEW.
That's like saying the sky is blue and the Northeast is hot as fuck right now.
Yeah. Keep wearing headbands, Bucks. So you keep wearing headbands to make people not realize you're going bald. I'm sure nobody notices.
Kind of like Hulk Hogan wearing a helmet at one point back in the late 80s, early 90s. Go ahead.
That fucking dude, that opening fucking 6-man with the fucking Elite and the idiots there, it was so terrible.
Dante Martin and the Seidels.
What?
Dante Martin and the Seidels.
Yeah. Maybe Matt Seidel would have a job at WWE still if he ever learned how to throw a fucking punch. Because literally,
there were a lot of
What?
There were a lot of bad punches. Not just in that match either. Like all night, there were a lot of bad punches being.
Well, Seidel never throws punches ever, and like that's his problem. Like everything is kicks, and I'm like, dude, learn to throw a punch. You're a wrestler.
Kick. Go ahead. Sorry.
Fucking every dive looked so fucking contrived, and like it was terrible. Fucking There was that one spot during there too. There was they did the hot tag to Donnie Martin. And the kid comes in and the Bucks are there and he elbows one Buck and the other one goes spinning out of control into the corner without being touched.
Yeah, that'd be Nick Jackson.
Yeah.
He tends to do a lot of that shit.
Yeah. Fucking. So going back to the whole Impact Dynamite fucking shit and how like, it's like, because like Impact has got nothing, because ever since Dynamite moved to Wednesday nights, or sorry, Impact moved to Thursday nights, we don't have those goddamn awful fucking pre-taped tomorrow night on Dynamite things on Impact, which were fucking terrible. So Impact realized we're not getting anything out of this. So they're like, okay, so we're going to have the Impact title match, and it's going to be the curtain jerker on the B show. Like, way to just kind of dig it in there as far as we don't give a fuck about your company. Oh, fucking. And it's like, why? So they're having Christian face Kenny for the Impact title on Rampage, but he's also going to face him for the AEW title at All Out.
Yeah.
Why two separate matches?
Because fuck it.
Because fuck it. Exactly. Because he's not dropping either belt. That's like the foreshadowing. Fucking. And Christian couldn't even do a cheap town pop correctly. Because he what do you call it? He came out and freaking called them jagoffs. And I was just like, no, you shut up. Just shut up. Fucking. AEW channel. Oh, fucking goddamn commercials for Great Value, Ms. and Mrs. Give me a fucking break.
Oh, Roads to the Top or something like that?
Yeah. Great Value, Ms. and Mrs. That's all that is.
You just hate Cody Rhodes. Let's just put it out there.
John's.
Breaking news. JJ hates Cody. Continue.
Fucking, okay. So fucking Britt Baker.
Yes.
They keep saying she's a heel. They keep pushing her as a heel. But then they have her come out wearing Steelers colors. They tell the crowd to start waving the fucking yellow towels. And then they have the babyface fucking Pearl Harbor her at the end to get booed.
Yep.
Not to mention the fact that I didn't realize until it was pointed out to me last night that they're running 2 shows in the same arena in 3 days.
Which brings me to the point I want to bring up. How bad fucking business is it to run the same town twice in less than a week?
And dude, like I fucking called it when they said Britt Baker returns home to Pittsburgh, and I looked up and I said the place holds 10,000 people. I guarantee they maybe get 4,000 tops. That entire upper deck was fucking empty last night. Like, say what you will about WWE, but their shows, since they returned to TV in 20,000 seat arenas, have been at or near capacity. And that's with them adding more seats. AEW is running in arenas half the size and not filling them.
They're an indie with a TV contract.
Yep. Not to mention that, and the thing is, because I was like discussing with people and I was all confused. I was like, but they're in Pittsburgh tonight. No, they're in Pittsburgh Friday too. And I'm like, the reason I didn't realize that is because they have put so much more fucking emphasis on the Chicago episode of Rampage.
Yep.
That nobody cares about what's happening tomorrow night.
Basically.
And I'll get to the Chicago in a moment. The Steelers colors. The fucking, oh God, the fucking, the Dark Order against fucking
Good Brothers.
Good Brothers was awful. Uno is just terrible. I'm sorry. I never saw anything in him. Apparently we're going to get a fucking QT Marshall fucking Paul White match now.
Because that's what the world needs.
Because that's what the world needs.
The only thing I want more than that is a Nick Comrado Paul White match.
Solo Camarado, go go.
Thank you very much.
What do you call it? Jericho and Wardlow was clunky as fuck.
Well, that's Wardlow.
Yeah, no, Jericho though. Like when Jericho went for that Judas effect, he looked like a drunk guy stumbling into him.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll give you
Yeah. And so now the 5 labors are complete, and he's gonna face MJF on Dynamite.
Well, no. MJF is the 5th labor.
Right.
Which is fucking not correct.
Right. But so
it's supposed to be 5 labors and then the end goal. Not 4 labors and then the 5th labor is the end goal. You stupid fuck.
Right. So they fucked that up, and they're just having it on Dynamite next week. Like, wouldn't you want to save that for the pay-per-view?
No.
I mean, they've already fucked this entire feud backwards. Like, with how they did the matches. Like, the match versus Wardlow should have been the first match because clunky as shit. And
yeah, first or second, yeah.
It should have been first match against Wardlow, second match against Hoovy, third match against Spears, fourth match against Pizza Cutter. Like, that's how it should have gone, because you just blew your load on death match, second match in, and
right. Well, we agree on what the last 2 should have been.
Right, exactly. And like, it's just it's so anticlimactic, and it's like, and the thing is, like, the logical end to this should be MJF defeating Jericho and Jericho disappearing.
There's nothing logical.
What?
There's nothing logical to them, though.
Well, because just from a standpoint of Jericho's going out on tour with Fozzy again. So they need to write him off TV.
You would think.
Right. But yeah, it doesn't mean. Just like, okay, here's something they mentioned last night that really gets to me. Cody is out injured from one chair shot. They said on commentary that they don't know when Cody and Malachi Black will face each other again because Cody has not been heard or seen due to his injuries.
It wasn't a chair. He hit him with a cane.
Oh, it was a crutch. That's right.
Oh, yeah, crutch. Excuse me.
Yeah. One crutch shot, injured for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
In a fucking match, in a fucking company where there's fucking thumbtacks matches every fucking week. I think last night was the first fucking Dynamite in forever where they haven't had a fucking no DQ fucking match on it.
It's been a while.
And
they still had 2 matches with a ton of fuckery, though.
Yeah, and they're really pushing the fucking trio shit because they're gonna.
And those are the 2 matches with a ton of fuckery.
Right, because they're going to be introducing trios titles because
because we really need those.
Because we need more belts. Babyface Sting fucking beating up the heels like the fuck. Like it's just so terrible.
I know what I'm looking forward to.
What?
The Fat Bucks versus Darby Allin and Sting.
Oh God, that's gonna be so awful.
Hercules.
Plus, like, Darby's getting Me Too'd all over again, and they don't even think to be like, maybe we shouldn't put him on TV this week. No. Let's just fuck it. Let's let the chips fall where they may, and let's bring it to Chicago. Yes, sweep it under the rug. So it's really hilarious how they keep pushing for Rampage in Chicago, and CM Punk said he's going to be at a screening of the first 3 episodes of Heels that night.
Well, they're also doing the same thing, though, where they're having both shows in the same arena the same week. I'm assuming that's going to be their business model, as poor as that is monetarily.
No, but
I mean, the economics make no fucking sense. But that's what I'm guessing they're doing is they're going to the same building twice on every Wednesday and Friday.
Right, which is stupid because you're going to have 2 half-empty houses then. And fucking, but no, the thing, Friday, August 13th, or no, what do you call it? Sorry, next Friday.
Next week is the 20th.
Yeah, I'm saying, so sorry, I'm on this week, wherever, but next Friday, when they're saying that.
Oh, right, I know what you're saying. Yeah, they're doing a screening. 2 things. One, The only legitimate reason, and I'm not even saying I don't think it's a legitimate reason, but the only legitimate reason I can think of that they would ever give for doing horrible economics by doing two separate shows within 3 nights in the same building is that they have so much shit to fucking tape for YouTube that you're not going to have the crowd sit through all that shit in one day.
I think that's the way it's going to be now.
My assumption is they'll do dark. They'll tape dark before one show, and then they'll tape dark elevation before the other show.
Right, because as they've been doing it, they've been doing dark before Dynamite and elevation after Dynamite, and the crowd's been dead.
Right. So that'll be my assumption.
Right, but
which is basically that was the WWE. Well, I think it still is now. Now they're back on the road. That's the WWE business model where they always, like, for example, the
main event.
They always tape the main event before Raw or SmackDown matches.
Right.
Before Raw or SmackDown went on the air. So,
yeah.
But
it still doesn't fucking justify them running the same building 2 fucking days in the same week. Like,
at least go to a town just outside of fucking like. Go to State College and run on Penn State's campus.
You've got such a saturated fucking roster, and your B show or whatever you want to fucking call it is literally only going to have 3 matches on it because it's only an hour long. Like, it makes no sense to do 2 shows in the same town, in the same arena, whereas you've got 2 YouTube shows with 15 squash matches apiece on them when, like, you could just be good. The entire thing is fucked.
Like what's funny is, I don't know if they're doing this on purpose or it's just a coincidence. They're booking towns that happen to be or are right near college towns.
Yeah.
So, like, this week, what they could have done was book one in the Pearson Event Center, which is on the campus of Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. And then they could have done, like I just said, Friday. State College isn't that far from Pittsburgh. You could have booked Penn State's campus for Friday. Right. Then next week, you're in Chicago at the Now Arena, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know if that's the renamed. I don't know if that's.
Oh, so they're running in 2 different places in Chicago then?
No, it's the same arena. Same fucking arena.
The United Center. Oh,
they're using
the Now Arena is the smaller part of the United Center.
Right.
Okay.
They're using that for both shows when you could have used that for Wednesday and, I don't know, say use the Illinois Chicago Pavilion for Friday. And by the way, UIC Pavilion, what is that famous for? What is that famous for? This is wrestling trivia for you. You're the historian. You should know this. We mentioned the show a week or 2 ago on here.
UIC Pavilion. Oh, the Super Clash.
Yes, Super Clash 3. The clusterfuck with Jerry the King Lawler and Kerry Von Erich. Ding, 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 ding. You are correct. And then what else? I want to say they just announced another show. Fucking They announced another city that they're doing Dynamite in, and that's at a fucking college campus as well. And I guarantee you they do Rampage at the same fucking arena, just like they've been doing. When I guarantee you there's probably another college arena with the same size capacity limit that they could run for Friday. I don't know. I don't fucking get it. Let me try to pull up real quick. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself.
They're trying to, like, save money by running in the same time, but it's all you're doing is killing your game.
Oh wait, time out. They're not running the same city next week. Dynamite's in Houston.
That's right. Dynamite's in Houston, and the United
and Rampage
Center
will be in Chicago. Right. And then they're running Milwaukee. That's, I think, what it was that I heard. They're running Milwaukee the following week for Dynamite.
Right.
And then they're running. Oh, that's what it. Oh, okay. So they're running. Oh, this is fucking stupid. So, okay, I got my shit mixed up. All right, let's clarify this. Next week is Houston for Dynamite, United Center in Chicago for Rampage.
Mm-hmm.
Because that makes fucking sense. Let's go to the bigger building for the B show. Following week, they haven't announced where they're doing Rampage yet, but they're doing Dynamite in Milwaukee on the 25th.
It's fucking 2 weeks away, and you don't know where you're fucking filming. How do you expect to get people to buy tickets?
Which, by the way, they're not even running the same arena the Milwaukee Bucks use. They're using the fucking University of Wisconsin Milwaukee's arena. They're not even using the fucking Mecca out in Milwaukee or whatever the fuck it's called now. Then, I just X'd out the fucking tab like a douche. Hang on.
Like, you've got the fucking place for your fucking pay-per-view in September booked, but you don't know where you're running your weekly TV show in 2 weeks.
Correct.
The fuck?
Correct. And then Milwaukee. Then they're going back. That's where they're going to Now Arena. They're doing Dynamite the week of All Out in Chicago again.
Yeah.
Then they're using Now Arena for fucking town. They're using Now Arena for both TVs before All Out.
Burn out that fucking town.
Yep. And then they go to Cincinnati that following week for Dynamite. They still haven't announced Rampage. Oh, I'm sorry. They did. They announced. See, they have Dynamite and Rampage on the same poster for Cincinnati. So now that makes me wonder: are they gonna start pre-taping Rampage? But then you gotta wonder what the fuck they're doing with their YouTube shows because the doors are opening at 7:00 and Dynamite goes on the air at 8. So what the fuck are you? I don't know. I don't fucking know anymore.
Nothing makes sense. Nothing.
Then they go to Newark on the 15th of September. Then that's their Arthur Ashe Stadium show the 22nd. Then they hit Rochester the 29th, Philly, Boston's at the end of October. They're doing a TNT taping. I don't know why they're just doing a taping, but they're doing a taping the night before Full Gear, it looks like, in St. Louis. And then that next night, they're doing Full Gear in St. Louis. What the fuck are we doing here? But hey, they booked out New Orleans for the middle of January, so they booked out a show for 5 months from now.
But they don't know where they're running Rampage in 2 weeks.
Oh, man. Anyways, let's go to the hot list.
Yeah.
A topic each week. We name off our 5 candidates for each list. This week, top 5 Dream Trios matches. Which is interesting because we just talked about Trios matches being fucked up on AEW. So now we get to book our own Trios matches. Now, full discretion. I'll put it out there right now. JJ's list is completely current modern day trios. Mine is not.
Oh, okay.
I went into real fantasy land for some of my matches.
Okay. But yeah. So the reason behind this that I had the idea was when Chikara was still in business, every year around Labor Day weekend, they would do their trios tournament, which is a big 3-day round robin tournament that they would hold at the arena in Philly. And they would use stables that they had already built in Chikara, but they would bring in a lot of trios from around and they would build their own trios. Like I specifically remember one year, one of the trios was, it was Team WWF New Generation, and it was Marty Jannetty, the 1-2-3 Kid, and Aldo Montoya in those gimmicks. This was like a few years ago. This is awesome. And like there was one year where they brought in they would bring in Demolition for the trio shit a lot, and they would add someone because Bryan Adams had died. I forgot who the third one was, but they would do stuff like that.
It could have been, and this is just me guessing based on the talent I remember being in Chikara at one point.
Yeah.
They might have used, because I think Sean Burke did a Demolition-ish
like
kind of.
Crunch.
Yes.
Well, they were their own trio. There were 3 of them because it was him, Sebastian Reese, and I always forget the other dude's name.
Okay. Yeah, I remember because they did a random house show in Troy, New York back in like 2014. And for whatever reason, I got roped into doing the fucking music that day for them.
Yeah.
The host was a funny motherfucker, though. I don't remember his name.
Sidney Bacabella.
Small dude. Looked like he could have been in the hair band.
The host. Oh! You mean the host of the whole show? Or the?
I think he... I don't know if I think he was just the host. I think he ring announced a few of the matches, but but eventually it was
loudspeaker.
Okay. And then the ring announcer for the rest of the show was the dude who was on Ring of Honor for a little while. Tall, skinny, black dude.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't remember his name, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
He was a manager even at one point. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Was the host for Chicago. That was Gavin Loudspeaker. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes. Funny dude. Funny dude on the microphone.
Yeah. Good dude.
Yeah. So, and his humor matched the fucking booking for the shows. But anyways, so yeah, go ahead with whatever your number 5 is going to be.
Yeah. So these are. I don't have them ranked. It's just I threw together 5. It was basically like, here's your bracket. Here's your 10 teams. Here's your 5 matches, and we go from there, or whatever. So first trios match that I had, Shane Taylor Promotions versus Hit Row. I think it could be interesting. See how Top Dollar fares. You know, he's a little greener, but see how well he can hang. And I think gimmick wise between the two trios, I think there could be something entertaining there.
Agreed. I'd say STP is a little more imposing looking in general.
Yeah.
Because the dudes that are with Shane aren't that much smaller than him.
Right.
Whereas going from Top Dollar to Swerve and Adonis is
right.
Size wise,
Adonis are fast,
but they have the charisma and skill. Yeah. Agreed. All right, I'm changing my number 5 real quick. Sorry. Because I originally I was gonna have the 2 teams I just put together for number 5. I wasn't even gonna have on the list, and then I was like, I think that'd be a little more entertaining than the other ones I have put together. As far as my fantasy booking is concerned. So real quick, the honorable mentions I have listed. Number 1, just because you're talking about the true representations of the Attitude Era, WCW and WWE. Mm-hmm. So I had Austin Rock and Hunter versus the original NWO of Hall, Nash, and Hogan.
Yeah.
Another FTR and MJF against Arn, Tully, and Flair.
Yeah.
MJF more so for the bantering back and forth with Flair that could have happened, and then Arn and Tully and FTR. You get it. Yeah. This is more for cinematic and theatrics than anything else. Wyatt family against the Brood.
Yeah.
And then this was originally my number 5, but I already have like a big bruising, like fucking haymaker type match, so I didn't put this in. But I had Demolition against Kawada, Misawa, and Kobashi.
There you go.
So I had, I guess I could call it my 5B essentially, because I was really close. But this is the number 5 I came up with literally just on the fly. I don't even know if it would flow well, but I think there's a chance it could. New Day versus the Freebirds.
Oh, that would be fun as shit.
Yeah, like I just was, I don't know why, but I kept looking at their names on my phone, and I'm like, that would be a match in itself right there. What the fuck am I not, like, what am I doing here? But I will fully admit, and it's going to be my number 3, so we'll get to it in a second. If I didn't have my number 3 already on the list, the Demolition, Kawada, Misawa, Kobashi match would have been on the list.
Gotcha.
But when I get to number 3, you'll understand why it's not there.
Yeah.
Go ahead to number 4.
So my next one up, and this was another interpromotional, and I had to pick and choose because each stable has more than 3 members. So I decided to do Violence Unlimited against Contra Unit. For Violence, Dickinson, Brody King, and Tony Deppen. Contra Unit, Jacob Fatu, Mads Kruger, and Simon Gotch. Because that way you've got the even balance on each side, bigger guys and smaller guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that would just that match would be stiff as fuck.
Wait till I get to my number 3. We'll talk about stiff as fuck. But in the meantime, my number 4. The only reason it's number 4 is because I'm thinking of this first team in their modern day incantations individually, and how I feel like they've improved since they were together. That first team being the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they were over as fuck when they were together, but I feel like the way that all 3 of them have grown individually since would be even crazier now if put back together, if that makes sense. And the team I thought of, and I hope you'll be proud of me for thinking of this squad. Triple threat. Shane Douglas, Chris Candido, Bam Bam Bigelow.
Okay. That'd be decent.
Yeah. Because I figured, I just think, like, it's pretty close to even size and skill-wise, really. Like, I think Seth and Candido would be good. Dean and Shane fits in to a degree. And that leaves Roman with Bam Bam, which... yeah. So, all right. Let's go to your number 3, Ben.
All right. My number 3 is pretty much almost 100% Lucha. And it goes to prove that I may hate AEW, the company, but I don't hate the talents as much. My number 3 would be Legado del Fantasma against Death Triangle. That's a lot of flips.
We go from flips to fists, because I think there'll be a lot of potatoes in this number 3.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think. I was trying to think of like Team US versus Team Japan. The Team US I thought of. Now you're gonna hear both teams and be like, how do you have? So basically, let me rephrase it. I want to think of guys known for their work more so in the U.S. than anywhere else, and were not afraid to throw down, versus guys better known for Japan, but are also known in the U.S. So the one side I had Taker, Farouk, Bradshaw.
Bone Street Crew.
Okay. The other side, Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen, Terry Gordy.
Okay.
and who the fuck was it? I was stuck between 2 guys for one spot. One was Gordy. The other guy I was considering was Vader. But I went with Gordy, yeah. But yeah, Brody, Hansen, and Gordy. Oh, yeah, that would have been.
Yeah.
All right. I'm actually trying to think. Didn't Brody and Hansen were an actual tag team at one point, weren't they?
I think so. Briefly.
Like not too long. I think it was not too long before Brody died. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. Number 2.
So my number 2, another modern day matchup would have the New Day versus the Foundation. For the Foundation, Jay Lethal, Jonathan Gresham, Hot Sauce Tracy Williams.
Sorry, Rick Titus.
It was weird to debate on who, but I think Williams would fit better in that element. Just as far as the balance of talent goes and the amount of personality.
Yeah, Titus, I feel like is a little more physique than skill. Not that he's bad, but I mean, like, he has a little more on his look than his skill set, I would say.
Plus, Williams is better skilled at trios matches from his time as How Many Colored Ants.
Mm-hmm. Number 2. This is the actual match I picked for the Horsemen. Arn, Tully, and Flair.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I wrote them down, I couldn't have thought of their opponents any quicker if I tried. Team Angle. Kurt Angle, Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be interesting. Definitely. I could see
Yeah,
that.
it was just the first thing I thought of. Like, I was just like, that'll work. That'll work. Write it down. All right, what's your number one, man?
My number one, like I said, 'cause I stuck with current times, it would be the Bloodline, Roman and the Usos, against another family of trios, Los Parks, LA Park Jr., and LA Park.
It's funny because I too went family bloodlines for number one. And I didn't even realize we both had the same idea for number one until literally you were just saying it. The unfortunate thing is out of the 6 guys I have in this match, only 2 of them are still alive. The Von Erichs.
Yeah.
David, Kerry, and Kevin, thank you. I was going to say Keith, but I knew it wasn't Keith. Against Brett, Owen, and Davey Boy.
Oh, okay. See, I originally wanted to do the Bloodline against the Von Erichs, but they needed a third, and I was sticking with Modern. So that was why.
Right. I hear you. All right. Trying to think if we missed anything that I wanted to talk about. Let me get through my phone quick. I think that covers everything. Oh, I know one thing I didn't mention from NXT.
What?
Love is in the air. Can you feel it?
Oh,
Love is in the air. What'd you make of all the index stuff from Tuesday night?
It was harmless. It was filler. It wasn't bad.
I don't know why. It just because I know what to expect, and I know because of who's involved, that's going to be executed. I don't know when they're doing anything involving those people. I don't know. It just brings a smile to my face. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but it just does. Any loser. Anything else you want to bring up before we wrap shit up? All right.
No, just.
All right. Well, that wraps up episode.
Heels on Sunday. That's about it.
True. Yes. Go watch CM Punk and fucking Green Arrow.
Stephen Amell.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Listen. I'm hot. Okay. I'm hot. I need the fan. I need AC. All right. I'm in the closed studio with no heat right now. Fuck you. Anyways, so that wraps up episode 13 of White Heat, presented by Godzilla Media, sponsored by our friends at Mohawk Honda, as well as John Stone Supply. Don't forget, if you have any comments about the show, if you want to debate us on Twitter for anything like that, at Brian Cady, BRIANCADY. He's at JJ_Alexander. If you don't know how to spell that, it's stupid. And then the email address for any long form comments, maybe even recommendations for stuff on the hot list, whatever. Brian.Cady@GodzillaMedia.com. That'll do it. Fuck Northeast Wrestling, and that'll do that. Yeah. So enjoy your weekend. And we'll catch you at episode 14 of White Heat. Until then, as my friend Ian Riccaboni says, happy wrestling.